Assalamu alaikum class. Today we're going to be starting the project People in Organizations, Lecture 1, Unit 1. The course outline, we can see that we need to understand the communication practices that are within an organization. Number 2, we will analyze the benefits of effective communication. Number 1.2, we will see the policies and procedures. And number 1.3, we're going to see the laws and regulations that are followed for effective communication within an organization. And lastly, we're going to be discussing the organizational structure impacts on communication. So 1.1, but firstly, we're going to discuss what is communication. So communication is the process of passing information and understanding the same person from one person to another through verbal and non-verbal means or cues. So what we can see is that communication means to pass information and understand that information. Okay, so we need to comprehend that information as well, and through verbal and non-verbal. So verbal means to talk, you're talking to someone, and non-verbal means the actions that you are doing with your body. For example, your eye contact, or the way you are standing, the way you have crossed your arms or your legs, or the way you are sitting. So that are the non-verbal means, or you can also call them non-verbal cues. Okay, so moving on, what is effective communication? So this is more than simply exchanging information. You are understanding the emotions and intentions behind that information. You, as a manager, will have to be an emotionally intelligent person. And effective communication is a two-way street. You have to give the feedback as well. When you receive the information, then you have to provide a feedback as well that, okay, I have understood the message. Then we come towards the benefits of effective communication. So before that, we need to talk about that through effective communication, what happens is that there is a ripple effect. And through that ripple effect, it can be good or bad. If there is good effective communication, then the ripple effect would be good. If it is bad, then it would be a bad effect. So if it is a good effect, what would happen is that the productivity of the business will increase, and the retention rate of the employees will be more. Retention rate means that the number of employees that are staying in the business. Whereas if there is ineffective communication, then there will be a ripple effect, and the productivity of the employees will decrease, and the turnover rate of the employees will increase. The turnover rate means that the number of people who are actually leaving the organization, the number of employees, because they weren't satisfied, so they are going to leave the organization. So the first benefit, that is accurate and timely information. So because of effective communication, it reduces the amount of time wasted. Employees don't have uncertainties over what they need to do, when they need to do, and how they need to do it, meaning that all the processes of the business run smoothly. Plus, when the employees have the confidence to communicate ideas freely among their colleagues, their senior managers, so this helps to enhance creativity. And because of this, innovation is born. So, not only is that great for the company, but it also contributes to employee morale that you can see is number fourth, morale and retention as a result. Morale means job satisfaction, their motivation, and retention means, as we discussed, that they actually want to stay in the business and work for the company. Then we come towards the second point, that is efficiency. So, better communication techniques assist in helping employees to better comprehend their roles, which in turn will help the employees to better perform their assigned duties. Resources and time can be saved by the employees through these techniques by getting more work done and reducing the stress. So, we can take an example of a teacher and a student. For example, a student is has a lot of work to do. He or she has to prepare for their exams. They have their exams coming up, and they have a lot of workload. So they will be in stress. The same happens with the employees. When they have a lot of work to do, they come under stress as well. So effective communication can help to reduce that stress. If you're able to talk to your teacher about your stress, then obviously your stress might be reduced. Same happens with the employees. When they talk to their managers, their stress is reduced and they are able to perform better. They are able to increase their efficiency. They are able to increase their productivity. Same happens with the students, that they are able to understand the lecture better. They are able to comprehend the lecture better. They are able to easily solve their questions and whatever comes their way. So all of these points, these all the benefits, they are kind of, interrelated with each other. Moving on to the next point, good relationships and effective teams. So effective teams or good, these good relationships, they build a culture of teamwork and trust. When managers practice effective communication across the board, they lead by example. And this creates a workplace culture of teamwork, team building, and trust wherever they go. So, if one employee is working in the finance department and now he will go in the production department, so that employee will be having a true team building, a teamwork with all the employees, with all the managers. Okay. So, clear expectations and guidelines with a healthy dose of understanding go a long way. For example, open communication is like a lifeblood of a healthy and trusting work environment. So, as we need blood in our body to function, a good business needs effective communication to function. It is very important. Then we come on the fourth point, that is morale. It increases the job satisfaction and loyalty. And as we discussed above, loyalty means increase in their retention rate. They will stay in the business. The employees will want to stay in the business. When employees, managers, and senior leadership are engaged, then something kind of magical happens. Suddenly, businesses experience a surge in employee engagement. Strong communication leads to heightened satisfaction and loyalty as a result. We just discussed this as well. Then, clear messages. Clear communication ensures understanding. In other words, In organizations where effective communication is lacking, you'll often find that employees don't know what they are doing. They might not fully understand their role or the company's expectations. When essential information is clearly communicated, employees can work at their best. So, effective communication, as we also discussed that in the first point, that they will know what to do, how to do, and when to do. If that is not clear, then how will they be able to do? Then we have customer and supplier relationships. So this improves the public relations. We can also call that PR. Effective communication isn't just for your team. Internal communications are essential, but businesses also have to interact with the external agents or the external stakeholders of the business. Effective communication helps businesses to connect with their clients, their sponsors, their suppliers, and any other external bodies or stakeholders. So, what are stakeholders? Let's discuss that. Stakeholders are the people that are directly or indirectly related to the business. For example, your customers, your sponsors, your suppliers, your bank. So, all these people. Many people, mix it up with shareholders. Shareholders is something different. Shareholders are the people who buy a share of your company. They buy a part of your company. So you have to differentiate between shareholders and stakeholders. Over here, we are talking about our stakeholders. Our shareholders who hold part of our company are also a part of our stakeholders. So let's just not get into it. We'll just talk about the stakeholders for now. Then we have communication mitigates conflict. So good communication can resolve and it can even avoid conflict. Obviously, good communication will resolve the conflicts, but it can even avoid the conflicts, even occurring before. Effective communication based on active listening has the power to prevent miscommunications and learning how to communicate with people in a way that they understand and connect, which is like a superpower, like no other. So, as we always listen, communication is the key. Communication is the key. So, in this point, it says that it helps to reduce conflict or it can even help to avoid conflict. So, these are all the benefits of communication. Obviously, there are many other benefits as well, but we have discussed a few important ones. As you can see, essential communication skills for your career. You need to be a good listener. You need to be friendly. You need to have an open mind. Okay, you have to listen to people. You can't just say whatever you want. You have to listen to them with an open mind. You have to give them a feedback. You have to be confident, and you have to use your non-verbal communication as well. Non-verbal communication is also very important. Okay, your verbal communication enhances your non-verbal communication enhances your verbal communication. So they both go hand in hand. Okay, number 2, analyze policies and procedures that are used to enhance communication within organizations. So these are a few things. These are the policies and procedures. For example, email. You can email your employees Then we have staff briefings. Staff briefings are, a little briefing is means a small thing. So a staff briefing, like before starting, you could have a 10 to 15-minute meeting with all your employees, telling them about what they have to do, or you can even motivate them in that staff briefing as well. Then we have newsletters, posters, bulletins, email groups, like we have WhatsApp groups now, notice boards, all of these things, they are in an organization, and managers can use these things to enhance communication. For example, they can write on the poster that, okay, we have a meeting at 10 o'clock at this hall or this room, or you can, they can send a WhatsApp message, or they have an email group. Emails are, more professional, but WhatsApp is also being used now. WhatsApp or whatever different apps are being used, WeChat, Emo, or whatever. So many businesses are using those as well. So these are used to effectively convey the message to the employees. Then we have regular meetings. You can have meetings, board meetings. Then we have cascade. Cascade means that when you divide your organization's overall strategy throughout your different departments. So what will happen is that you are going to divide the strategy. For example, you have a main objective or a main aim that you have to achieve, and you're going to assign some of the part to the sales department, some of its part to the finance department, some of its part to production department, some of its part to advertising department. So an overall strategy will be cut into smaller parts. That makes it easier for employees to understand. They will have a bigger picture, but they will also have a smaller picture as well. Then we have policies, for example, dealing with media, confidentiality. Then, for example, over here we have policies related to what information we can give to the media about our information. Sorry, what information we can give the media about our business. We cannot give everything about our we can't give all the information, like each and everything about the organization, to the media. Things have to stay confidential. Okay, so there are policies related to that. Then we have sending emails to employees. We have discussed that before. Putting information on your company website. For examples, if we use newsletters, posters, bulletins, email, and all these things. So what we can do is we can directly put all these things on our company website as well. And it will only be visible to the employees, not to the general public. Then sharing the policies on your internal social media platforms, like I discussed, WhatsApp groups or WeChat groups or whatever. Then we have posting updated policies on company, including policies in any staff handbooks. Okay. So if there are a few companies that give handbooks to their employees as well, so you could print your policies in those as well, so the employees know that what policies and procedures they have to follow by being an employee at the company. Okay, so before this, there are, however, some limitations with these communication methods. They rely on employees paying attention to emails and actively looking at the website and other internal channels, or being present at a meeting if anything was being discussed. So, not all employees check their emails, not all employees check their, websites or something like that. So, there are some limitations as well. So, When you have to select the best communication vehicle, organizational leaders should consider these three things. These are kind of the communication vehicles, that what are we going to use? Are we going to use email? Are we going to use bulletins, notice boards? Are we going to use the the company website, the social media platforms? What communication mode or vehicle are we going to use? So all of these things depend on these three things: timing, location, and message. So the timing of the information may be imperative, such as emergent situation. If it is an emergent situation, for example, if there is a earthquake, so you can't just sit on a laptop and email everybody, okay guys, leave the building from the emergency exits. You just can't do that, right? What you will have to do is you will have to see that, okay, what should I use from these? Okay, I can use social media platforms. I can write a message in the group or a WhatsApp group, Facebook group, whatever, that okay guys, there's an earthquake, please leave the building. Okay, so timing is very important. Then we have location. Employees' location may affect the selection. Are all employees in one building or at multiple sites or situated globally? Do they work virtually? Okay, so what might happen is that if the earthquake is in Pakistan and we have a group with all our, employees living across US, Canada, Dubai, whatever. So, and we message that okay, there's an earthquake, and you're just talking about Pakistan, so like that matters as well, the location matters as well. So you need to have a effective communication vehicle for that as well. So maybe you could do is make a separate a WhatsApp group for the Pakistani employees or that specific um, employees that are in that specific building. Then we have message. Another issue that affects the decision is the sensitivity of the information. For layout or termination information, most professionals agree that face to face meetings trump any other means of communication. But some issues may make these meetings impossible due to geographic location of the employees, the number of employees affected, and other factors. Okay, so and the emails are very important as well. As you know that the sensitivity of the information means that, for example, if it's a top secret, you have to do it by an email. Okay, you can't send that message through a WhatsApp. For example, it over here it says that if you are terminating an employee, if you are firing an employee, then it is better to have that conversation face to face rather than using all these mediums like email boards or company website, social. You can't just drop him a message, okay, uh, John, you're fired. You can't do that, right? So you will have a regular meeting with that person. You're going to sit, you're going to tell him that, okay, these are the things that didn't work out. So I'm sorry, but we're going to fire you. So you need to see that what kind of message you are conveying. And according to that, you have to use the communication vehicle. Okay, so this is all for 1.2. Then we move on to the next point, that is 1.3. Outline legislation relevant to communication within organization. So firstly, we're going to discuss that what legislation is in an organization. So legislation is a set of laws put in place by the government to protect businesses, employees, and consumers. Businesses must operate within these laws to ensure that fair and safe treatment of any party is involved within a business. Okay, and then why is legislation important in the workplace? Employment law all these laws that we're going to discuss, they are designed to ensure fairness at work and can help to boost productivity. Legislation makes a positive contribution to employee relationships and increases employees' sense of fairness and trust in their employer. So, this is why legislation is important in any workplace. So, these are the legislations that we're going to discuss. These are in your syllabus. The first is Data Protection Act 1998. The Data Protection Act, or DPA, is a United Kingdom Act of Parliament which was passed in 1988. It was developed to control how personal or customer information is used by organizations or government bodies. It protects people and lays down rules about how data about people can be used. So it means that any information that we have given to the government, for example, our phone numbers, our names, our mobile contacts, our CNIC, are all these things, they have to be protected by the government and by the businesses at any cost. Okay, then we have, wait a second. Okay, oops. Um, Where's the mouse? Okay. Okay. So then we have our Electronic Communications Privacy Act. So over here, this is also known as ECPA. ECPA. And it is an amended law, and it says that it protects wire, oral, and electronic communications while those communications are being made or are in transit and when they have been stored on the computers. So this means that when you're in a business and you're calling on the phone or you're using the email, you're using some data that is stored electronically. So the company the company doesn't have the right to invade your privacy. Okay, so this is the meaning. And this act applies to email, telephone, conversations, and data stored electronically. Then we have Freedom of Information Act. FOIA generally provides that any person has the right to request access to federal agency records or information except to the extent that records are protected from disclosure by any of the 9 exemptions contained in the law or by any 3 special law enforcement's record exclusions. For example, this only happens to public organizations. You can't take information from, you can't request any FOI, freedom of information, from a private company such as McDonald's. can't just go there and you can, request information that, okay, give me this or tell me this about your company, or, um, whatever the things that they have related to their business, their policies, their procedures, things that they are unable to share. So, um, you can, you know, access information. You have a Freedom of Information Act. The employees, I'm talking about the employees, they have a Freedom of Information Act from their companies in case they are um, public, but they have to be exempt if that information is, classified to protect national security, and if that information is prohibited from disclosure by another law. So, and these are a few things that they have to keep in mind. And even for freedom of information, the public companies can't expose everything as well. Then we have equal employment opportunity. So, it was designed to prohibit job discrimination for reasons of race, religion, color, natural origin, and sex. Rather, it means that the law looks at all the applicants or employees as equals who deserve fair treatment. Fair treatment. So, you can understand this. This is normal, and I think everyone knows about this law all around the world these days, that if it's a male or a female, you can't, discriminate between people. Then we have confidentiality, to keep your information confidential. It means that professionals shouldn't share personal information or detail about someone with others unless that person has said they can or it's absolutely necessary. Okay, so if you're working in a business, you're not allowed to share anything about your customers to the other people. For example, this is normally for professionals in context of like doctors, nurses, social workers, support workers, and all those people. They can't share information with everyone. They have to keep the information confidential. So these are all the legislations. And if you are unable to understand these, what you can do is you could go on Google and YouTube these, and there are pretty good YouTube videos over there. You can watch them and understand the ideas even more if you're like interested in laws and all those things. But for our subject, we just need to know these laws and legislations, not in depth, just the surface, just the crux. So, whenever you become an employee or an employer, you know all of these things and that you have to follow all these things. Then, moving on to the next slide, evaluate how the organizational structure impacts on the communication methods used. So, firstly, we're going to discuss that what is an organizational structure. A formal outline of a company's structure makes it easier to add new positions in the company, as well providing a flexible and ready means for growth. So, it is like a formal outline, a hierarchy about how employees are, positioned in a company. We're going to see some hierarchies or organizational structure in the next slides. Then, what is the impact of organizational structure? Organizational structure improves operational efficiency by providing clarity to the employees at all levels of the company. So, by paying mind to the organizational structure, Departments can work more like, a well-oiled machine, focusing time and energy on productive tasks. So it is important so that productivity and efficiency of the employees increase at all the levels of the company. Then we have organizational structures. Here are a few types that was mentioned in the syllabus outline. And the first one is flat versus tall. So I have a picture over here as well. So tall structures are more of what we think of when we visualize an organizational chart with the CEO at the top and multiple levels of management. Whereas flat organizational structures differ in that there are fewer levels of management and employees often have more autonomy. So you could see that in the tall we have the president, then we'll have the managing directors, then the executive directors, then your simple journal managers, and then your employees. And in the flat organization, you could see that we have uh, our managers, and then we have our subordinates under that. Subordinates are the people who are working directly under the manager. So this is an example of a tall organization and a flat organization. Then coming to the matrix. A matrix organization is a company structure where teams report to multiple leaders. Okay, so I added this picture as well for tall organization and flat organization. This will, this makes it easier to understand. Then the matrix. So uh, it is a company structure where the teams or the subordinates or the employees report to multiple leaders. So, what if I'm an employee? I have to report to the executive manager, I have to report to the project manager, then I have to report to the project team, I have to report to the functional manager. I have so many, like, I have a number of managers who I have to report to. Okay. So, the matrix design keeps open communication between teams and can help companies create more innovative products and services. Using this structure prevents teams from needing to realign every time a new project begins. So, and I will be reporting to all these managers, and they all will be interlinked with each other as well. So, this is um, a type of matrix organization. Okay, or you could say that this is the project team. I'm in the project team, and I have to report to the functional manager, I have to report to the project manager, and then these two have to report to the executive manager. Or I'm the executive, I'm over here, I have to report to the functional manager, I have to report to the project manager, I have to, and then they have to report to the higher project team. So it can go anyway. Obviously, the employee has to, you know, um, what's the word? Yeah, the employee has to report to the higher person, whoever that might be. Then, as we also discussed, that this increases the creativity. All of them are interrelated, all of them are talking. So, they will brainstorm ideas, and this can help create innovative ideas, maybe even innovative products and services for the company. Okay, then we have regional organizational structure. So, as you can understand by the name, a geographical or regional organizational structure suits businesses that have offices or units in different regions or geographical areas. This form of structure enables businesses to have a reporting and functional system across multiple locations. So, you can see we have northern region, we have eastern region, we have western region, southern region, and Asia Pacific region. So, and then we have proper teams and that production, sales, marketing, after sales, production, sales, all of these are the same. So this is how regional organizational structures work, and they are aligned underneath a one CEO. So this is an example of regional organization. Then we have remote offices. So for remote offices, I don't have a picture over here because you can understand by the remote offices that remote office or branch office is a corporate business site located at some distance from the organization's headquarters or the main office. Generally, a remote office is a smaller office than the company headquarters and located in another town, state, or company or country. For example, if we talk about a university, for example, our university, so it is located in Jeddah, and that is the main headquarter, and the this is our remote office in Pakistan. So this is an example of remote offices and how they are located at a distance from the headquarter. Then we have dotted line, dotted line reporting. This is an example of dotted line reporting. So it is a product of hybrid reporting structure. So all the structures are mixed in it. So where someone is giving an additional indirect manager to report to in addition to the original direct reporting line. So what happens is that this is me, okay? Or you could say that this is me, okay? So what I have to do, my main hierarchy or organizational structure is to report from here to this person, to this blue person. But because of dotted line, I have to report to this person, and then this person will report to this person. Okay, and then this blue person will report to this red person. Or I even have a chance to report directly to the red person. As you can see over here, if I'm this person, I can report to the blue person directly, or I can report to this blue person. So this is a dotted line reporting. Like this won't always happen, but for example, if there's a project going on that has to be that has a time period of 3 months, then okay, I might have the opportunity to talk directly to my CEO in those 3 months. But after the project is finished, then I have to come back to my main manager. That is this blue one. I can't even go to the green one. Then after the project is finished, I will move back to the original hierarchy. All these dotted lines will be finished from in between. So this is our topic for today. And we completed unit 1.1. And we can see that what things we covered. We covered today the benefits, then we discussed the policies and procedures, the emails, the briefings, staff meetings, all those things, the legislations, the laws that are implemented, and then the organizational structures that are used in the business. So all these things that we have discussed, they help to make communication better. They help to make communication easy. So this is all for today, and I hope that you guys are able to understand this lecture. Thank you.